Oftentimes we get many questions about the correctional facilities located here in Lino Lakes. This video will provide our residents, the information they need about what services are being provided there. The Lino Lakes Correctional Campus provides two main facilities. One is run by the Minnesota Department of Corrections in the prison, which is what most people associate that campus with because of the fencing. But another crucial component to that is the Anoka County Juvenile Corrections, which provides a variety of services from secured lockup facilities to a high school program into a non-secured program where some of the residents there are just simply there receiving treatment. I want to thank Superintendent Todd Benjamin with the Anoka County Juvenile Corrections and Warden Vicki Jansen with the Minnesota Department of Corrections for their cooperation in making this video.
My name is Todd Benjamin. I'm the superintendent of the Juvenile Center located in Lino Lakes. We're operated by Anoka County. We're licensed by the Department of Corrections, which is the state organization, and we're on location. We're co-located with the adult prison. We serve youth ages 10 to 18. And so our average age on campus is 15 and a half, and we have 3 different facilities. So the Juvenile Center started in 1977 with one facility. We didn't have the commercial, residential, retail surrounding us like we do now. And so the Juvenile Center has basically been enveloped around with the community at large. The Juvenile Center has 3 different programs, and the programs determine what types of youth we serve. And so we're currently sitting in the non-secure program, and the non-secure program services juveniles that may have a delinquency. It's generally a lower level delinquency. This particular program, non-secure, means there's no locks, and so the building is wide open. Over half the population in this program is social services, so they do not have offenses. They're here for various reasons, whether that be a voluntary hold, a 72-hour hold by law enforcement. It's more for protective reasons, and most of those residents, of course, we're looking at facilitating reunification with the social workers back to their family. At large, at the Juvenile Center, more than 90% of the youth that we serve all reintegrate back to the community when they leave campus. So as the community drives by on the road and our residents are outside playing kickball, these residents in short periods of time are going to be back in the community. The primary case plan for all juveniles in the state of Minnesota, first of all, is placing them in a least restrictive environment and reunification to the family. So ours is a fully integrated, interactive process of working with kids in the change model in order to give them the tools they need to be successful once they leave.
I am the mental health professional here on campus, and I oversee all of the mental health services that happen here at the Juvenile Center. A lot of the skills that I am working with kids on are increasing coping skills. So I do facilitate a coping skills group in some of the longer term programs here on campus in the 3 different buildings. And we're working on learning and practicing some coping skills. So every kid comes to our facility with different levels of coping skills that have worked for them in the past, some of them positive, some of them negative. And I really work with them to increase their use and practice of positive coping skills when stressful times arise, as they do for all youth in the community. And emotional regulation skills. So when teenagers experience big feelings, either here or out in the community, we work on practicing positive emotional regulation skills here so that they can take those with some practice out into the community and in their homes and in their schools. So we get to see the youth really stabilize in their behaviors and in their emotional regulation. We get to see how they do when they're attending school on a consistent basis. And some of their strengths kind of rise to the surface when we get to create that buffer from the negative influences of the community.
We do a lot of life skills. So we teach the kids how to cook, how to do clothes, how to do dishes, how to paint. And so some things that we might naturally have grown up learning some of those skills, our population tends to fall short on that. And so we spend time offering those opportunities to the residents here.
A lot of those behaviors that they're exhibiting when they first get here versus when they are about to leave are a lot different. They've learned how to deal with their emotions in a positive way versus being aggressive or being disrespectful. They've made some big changes with how they interact with their family. They've been restoring that relationship, and so then that shows with their behaviors and how they're interacting with the staff here. So it's cool to see the change from day 1 to 5th month or 4th month. You know, we don't actually change the kids. They have to make that choice for themselves, but offering them the tools and capacity to do that is pretty cool.
Because this facility that we're sitting in is non-secure, there are times where the kids are faced with situations that's very scary or challenging to them. Or we also service a particular pocket of girls that are involved in sex trafficking. It's a very difficult dynamic to break through. Sometimes it's easier to use a distorted coping mechanism, which is flight, go away. If that were to occur, which does happen sometimes in this facility, they may choose to leave campus, not by our design. They just can't handle what they're facing. The kids are pretty adept at being able to survive out in the community, this transient community. They may come to a door, knock on the door and say, you know, my friend was supposed to pick me up. I wonder if you could call my friend to come and pick me up. And they're very genuine. They're very convincing. We work very closely with law enforcement. What they would like to do is they're working with us on trying to provide the best services for those kids. We're recommending not allowing those kids into the house. See, when we started, there were no residential. That wasn't even an option. So the runs or the walk-offs, there weren't hardly any. The more development we have retail out here, we're trying to be more diligent in educating the community. If this were to occur, what's the best thing to help these kids? The best thing to help the kids is notify law enforcement. We share a lot of information back and forth, and they help us in helping those kids get to the right location where they should be. We do work in an environment, and we have a profession. We do not see always the end result. But if we impact the kids or the families in the right way, we shouldn't see them again. And there's a lot of cases that we never see. We'll see them one time. Now, there are repeat kids. That's the nature sometimes in the corrections area. But for the most part, the majority of the kids, it's a one and done type environment. So we impact lives, and I think the staff carry great pride in that.
My name is Vicki Jansen. I'm the warden here at the Lino Lakes Correctional Facility in Lino Lakes, Minnesota. So we are the primary treatment prison for the Department of Corrections, and our number one goal is to prepare offenders for release back into the community. So we have 1,300 offenders at this facility. We have 478 staff, so it's a very big place, and it's really a city within a city. The breakdown of the offender population, we have 270 beds dedicated to sex offender treatment. We have 340 beds dedicated to chemical dependency treatment. And then we also have a large faith-based program that's 168 beds. We have lifers, offenders who have a life sentence who've been committed, who are reducing down in their custody level, that come to Lino Lakes as they are hopefully preparing for release in their mind. We also have release violators who come here, so offenders who have gotten out and then violated some kind of a condition of their release, and then they get revoked and they come back to our prisons, and many of them come back to us here at Lino Lakes. We also have a youthful offender program here, and that would be teenagers under the age of 18 who are adjudicated as adults because their crimes are so serious. They get sentenced and they come to us here at Lino Lakes. We have a small unit that we can house them in so that we can, protect them from any kind of victimization that might happen in the adult population. So the public needs to know that we take our jobs very seriously. Our number one job is public safety. It's my job as a warden of this facility to make sure that the facility runs according to procedure, policy. Staff go home safe every day at the end of the day, and that the offenders who are committed to the Commissioner of Corrections can do their time in a safe and secure environment. So the community at large, and probably the neighbors close by, would like to know that we have most of our offenders are inside the secure perimeter. So everyone can see the razor ribbon as you drive past Lino Lakes, and we take that job very seriously. We count offenders 6 times a day. We always want to be sure that we have who we're supposed to have. So the vast majority of offenders are inside the secure perimeter, but we do have 2 minimum custody units outside of the fence, and those offenders, obviously minimum custody means they have fewer barriers between them and the public. Those are offenders who are ready to go out into the community or are already out working on crews under staff supervision. So sometimes as people drive by this facility, there is confusion with Anoka County, which is right next to us, because 2 of our minimum units look very similar to some of the Anoka County units. But we are absolutely 2 separate entities that work very well together. The facility is laid out almost in a big circle, if you will, and it is pretty spread out. We have 55 acres inside of our secure perimeter, inside of the fencing. So the buildings are pretty laid out. There's a large yard in the middle. Actually, there are a couple of yards that are in the middle of the facility. So really the buildings kind of run around the perimeter of the facility, if you will. So we have 7 living units. We have programming units where we have treatment taking place. Education is also in place at our facility. And then our faith-based program, recreation programs. We have religious programming that's available for offenders who wish to partake in that. They do get recreational programs like outside. They can go out to the yard. They can go into the gym, into the weight room. Anything that will help them build up who they are so that they are a stronger man and a better man going out than they were coming in. The state prison could look very stark if that's what the goal was, but these are state buildings and grounds. They need to look stately. They should be clean and well kept, and so we do have a very serious effort about that. So we have offender work crews who work outside on our grounds crew. We also have an inside the fence grounds crew, and they take a lot of pride in maintaining all of the grounds. We have a lot of dedicated staff here, and the offender population, they also take pride in it. And there's something to be said for how that would affect them, just coming to work in a place where everything is just very stark and gray and cold versus coming to work in a place where things are neatly kept and the groundskeeping is well done. It does affect how they look at where they have to live while they're doing their time. So I just can't stress enough how I believe in the staff that work here at Lino Lakes, and I truly believe the offenders that come here know that this is a place where they can become a better man. By the time they come to Lino Lakes for treatment, they know that this is really serious, and they know that they're getting close to release, and really it's in their best interest to participate fully, because they have a lot at stake. And I truly believe that offenders come here knowing that if they can be honest and be accountable in the program, it will help them be a better man when they get back out into the community. So I do have a lot of faith in the programming that we offer here, and I truly believe that there probably are many more offenders who are successful out in the community that we don't hear from, but the few that we do help us recognize that we really are on track and we are doing the right thing for all Minnesotans. We have a great partnership with Leader Dog for the Blind, which is based in Michigan. And the program has been here about 3 years, maybe a little over 3 years, and I've approved up to 15 dogs to come in. So it's a great partnership for us. So the gist of the program is that the puppies come in, dogs come in as puppies, and then offenders are assigned to be the primary handler or the secondary handler. So we basically have the dogs for the first year of their life to socialize the dogs, do some basic obedience training, and prepare them to then go back to Michigan and get more intensive training to become a leader dog for the blind. So we've had great success with the program. We've had many puppies come into this facility. Many of them succeed. A few of them don't. They need a career change, just like human beings do sometimes. But they come in, they get socialized. Staff can actually take the puppies out or the dogs out on furlough for a weekend so that they get used to being in the community, they get used to being around children and so on. But the dogs are basically raised on the facility grounds here for the first year of their lives and preparing them to go back into the more intensive training, and then they get put out into the community for people that need the leader dog for the blind. And the wonderful thing for us is we get to see those success stories. And we often hear from people who have been the recipient of one of the dogs that started here at Lino Lakes. So the Prison Fellowship Academy is the program that meets in our Q building, our big auditorium. And that is a very successful program. It's similar to treatment in the sense of it's about offender accountability. It's about them owning what they did and taking accountability for it, talking about it, working through what they did, why they did it. And really it's about changing criminal thinking and helping guys see that they can change and become a better man. It is faith-based. You do not have to practice a Christian faith to be part of it. It is all independently funded also, so there are no tax dollars that go to that. But there are many men that go through that program and it absolutely changes their lives. They have a lot of volunteers that work through Prison Fellowship that come into our facility every week and really seriously commit to helping people change and be better human beings. So both the sex offender treatment and our chemical dependency treatment, they are both not only nationally known but internationally known. So both programs are very much about accountability. There are classroom sessions, there are group sessions, there are independent sessions that are run by therapists and program directors and really very focused on what happened, why it happened, how do you change it moving forward so it doesn't happen again.
I'm the director of the Sex Offender Treatment Program. The program is a 270-bed treatment program for men who have committed sexual assaults, that includes assaults against children, assaults against adults. But there are a number of things that they can change. Things like how they manage their emotions, things like their attitudes and their behavior, their relationships, their employment, their future employment and their plans for employment, how they manage their finances. There's a number of things that we try to focus on that the research tells us are related to likelihood to reoffend. And so we incorporate those into their treatment plan. And those are the things that we then assess both at intake to our program and we assess as they go through treatment programming. And so we know that folks who have participated in our program, their likelihood of reoffending is substantially reduced. We see between 1/4 and 1/3, 25 to 33% reduction in sexual offending and in criminal reoffending as well. And so that is, I think, an important outcome for the general public to know because it's their tax dollars at work. And I think their tax dollars are being well spent in our Department of Corrections.
So in the event that there would be an offender that perhaps could walk away from one of our minimum units, it is highly unlikely that that would happen. However, if a community member would see an offender, the best thing to do is call 911 immediately. So do not open your door, don't try to help the person, just call 911, let the law enforcement professionals take over from there. So I think it's important for the community to know that even though we are two distinctly different entities with Anoka County on one side of the parking lot and the State Correctional Facility on the other side of the parking lot, we do work very well together. We're great partners. They reach out to us if there's something that they think we need to know that could be a security issue. We reach out to them if there's a notification. And then really with Chief Swenson's office and Lino Lakes Public Safety, the three of us in the proximity of where we are all located, we work very, very well together. So really the goal of this joint effort is for the community to know that we work well together and we're all on the same page, and the safety of the Lino Lakes community is really our #1 priority.
One of the most important takeaways of this video is our community should know that we are in constant contact with both facilities through training and continuous engagement to make sure that we are providing the best service to them and remaining very mindful of our important role in protecting our community. Some of the residents may encounter some juveniles in the area. If you do, please call 911 and give us an opportunity to safeguard those kids and get them back to the facility if that's indeed where they need to be. Remember, these kids are there in the non-security area for very low-level offenses, and some for no offense at all. They're just simply there receiving treatment. I want to thank the staff at the prison and the staff at the Anoka County Juvenile Center for their assistance in making this video. The members of the Lino Lakes Public Safety Department are committed to providing our community with the highest level of service. We are focused with one vision and one mission to accomplish this. Thank you for watching this video.